to start the presentation. I know my bio was shared, on the invitation of the Lunch and Learn. But my name is Jaylin Stewart. For those who aren't familiar with me, I'm 25. I'm the founder. I have my own school called the School of Art, and I teach youth. I teach adults. I started a lot in West Louisville, but I've expanded all over Kentucky and some in Indiana. Just serving different people, through artistic practices. I'm a activist. I'm a painter. I'm a multimedia artist, so I do a lot of different things. Here in this bio, it kind of talks about some of the work, some of the themes around my work, which a lot of it's gun violence, drugs, different things we have going on in America. I got pretty known from painting my victims of violence. When in 2016, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next slide. So actually, it's my 4-year anniversary. Today's the actual first day that I started sharing my artwork. I had my first art exhibition at California Community Center in the basement. I really didn't know too much about being an artist or anything like that. So I kind of just went for what I knew, and kind of reached out to people that I knew would help me try to make this idea come to life. Alexa, she's actually on this call, and she is the photographer of this photo. So she's been supporting me since day one. I sent you, and I was very excited about that, especially with today being the, anniversary of this day. So these are actually more portraits that I've done. I started that mission in 2016, and I kind of really just kept going. I guess I'm referred to as a therapeutic artist because I always mention how I started my artwork or started these painting kind of to heal my own broken heart. My cousin, I deal with like a lot of gun violence in my family, like family and friends and different things like that being murdered. And my cousin had got murdered in 2015, and I had honored him and painted a picture for him for his birthday in October 2016. And they got such an overwhelming response, from the community and different people. So I just decided to kind of keep going with that mission. And I painted that portrait, portraits, it was 10 portraits of people that had passed away for the first show. And I got a lot of media attention and different things like that. So I got an offer to do my second exhibition, and it was at Sorger Community Church. And Louisville was like at their peak of homicide rates in 2016. So it was just like a lot of killings going on. And this specific exhibition is in the East End. It's in the Shelby Park neighborhood. So it was a lot of murders going on down there. So they asked me to do this exhibition, and I did it. And I did it because I'm not from that neighborhood. And I really kind of just wanted to share the message, and that what I'm creating is for everybody. It's not really one-sided, and trying to just kind of do away with some of the things that was installed in me, make better of it. So that's just an image of that exhibition. This is just more portraits of the victims of violence. This is a photo that was a feature in Louisville Magazine, kind of just talking about some of the work early on in my career. This is just a really popular photo that I've done. This is a painting of Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant. My family's like, we're diehard Lakers fans, so and Kobe fans. So I took that really hard. So I had to, honor them the best way I knew how to. This is another really popular portrait that kind of helped me, surface on different levels. It's a rapper. His name is Nipsey Hussle, and he was killed. So I honored him and painted him. I've done a lot of different portraits, so a lot of them is not going to be in here. I also mentioned I'm a teacher. I was teaching at the West End Boys School. These are actually some of my students. This is my 3rd grade class, and they was working on color wheels, just trying to get to know different things. I love teaching, public speaking, mentoring, different things of that nature. So I want to show you all that. This is my students as well, just working on different activities. I love teaching children, especially, children where I come from. I think it's important to really show them, that they're capable of being other things, despite, what's promoted all the time. And the artist is not something that's really considered. Well, when I was younger, it was never really considered a career. I was always told to have a backup plan or do this and do that. So I make it my duty to let them know that, I'm doing pretty well to be an artist, and I just try to be a motivation to them, and let them know what I do in my everyday life, and this is something that you can do. So I talked about public speaking. So I'm assuming that this Lunch and Learn series would kind of be like this. So if anybody is familiar with Creative Mornings, that was one of my first like large events that I've done a lot of talking at. And so I just wanted to put that in here. I was really excited to do that. And I was kind of just sharing my story the same way, talking about how artwork is healing and therapeutic to others. This is also another project that I've done with the Louisville Urban League. Um, and I taught a program called Parent Leadership Academy. So it was families. It wasn't just children. It was, it might have been their mothers, grandmothers, fathers. And we did different, family learning activities, just trying to help, in the household, in school, in any way that I possibly could. And we did a lot of art projects in this program. And what we did for Black History Month was we honored, I asked them, who it was.
Yes. Send me an email and I'll send her a link.
So
okay.
I'm sorry, but so I asked them who was kind of important to them, in the community, and we honored different leaders, and they all voted upon them. They painted portraits of them. I helped them. I drew them out, and it was kind of like a group exercise. So they had to learn to really get to know each other, and work with each other on different levels. So, he mentioned at the beginning of my presentation that we got to know he got to know my artwork through a installation that I did called God Rest America. This is actually at a former gallery called Scheherazade. And it's a 24-hour gallery. It's an open gallery. So it's like a garage gallery. So you can see through windows at any time of the day. And what I did was I kind of really wanted to do something a little different than what I do with my paintings. So I really wanted to create, I'm a realist, so I like for my viewers and for people to kind of feel what it is that I'm trying to express. So like I said, I'm known for talking about different issues and different things we have going on, and like, in the United States and all over the world, but I just tried to do it a little different, and I created like a roadside memorial. Often when people are murdered or car accidents, they create like I said, roadside memorials and like telephone poles, and they may put balloons, teddy bears, shoes, liquor bottles, different things, in honor of that individual who had passed away. So I did that with this, but I kind of, I twisted it a little bit. I put a lot of division in there. It's also very political. It just says a lot of different things about what's going on around us, not just in Louisville, not just in Kentucky, but everywhere. So it's kind of honoring, but it's just really talking about different issues that we have. And the most important part of this installation to me was I opened it to the public. I allowed the viewers at the opening reception to really come in and spray paint the walls, and there was really no limits and no rules to what you could put on the walls. The only requirement was that you had to wrap your face, and that was almost kind of like an experiment, because I only provided like bandanas, and I provided red, white, and blue bandanas, and it was just interesting to see what people chose and what people wrote on the walls, and just being around other people and kind of getting their emotions out of that. And that's something that artists usually don't do. They don't allow other people to interfere with their work. But it's important to me to allow other people to have a voice, an opinion on certain things that I do. So I felt like it was perfect to do that with this one. It was a great turnout. That's just more photos. It's kind of up close, of what's going on. These are like, so I know I talked about like there's candles, teddy bears, but you see that there's like a lot of crazy stuff going on in it as well. There's a lot of details, money, drugs, guns, weapons, just different things. We got a baby shoe in there, just really taking it to a different level, and allowing people to get different interpretations, of this. So, and that's just more of when we was working on building the exhibition. It took a lot of time, like every little thing in there, it was so much detail, like, and I really put my hand on everything. It wasn't just like a bunch of collected items. So it was a lot of work and put into it. Also, I'm a muralist, so I just want to share some of the murals that I've done. This is a mural that I've done in a barbershop, and it's Nipsey Hussle, Muhammad Ali, and Tupac. And it was a commission, so this is what they asked for. But I was super proud of this piece because it was one of my first large pieces that I had done outside of on the canvas. So I was growing into, being the muralist that I wanted to be. This is another one that I done instead of school called the Butterfly Center. And I just want to create something vibrant, something cool, something fun, a little bit different than what I do. So that's one of my first murals as well. You all may be familiar with this one. This is kind of jumping forward to this year. When COVID, first hit America, it kind of was, kind of ignored until we was really asked to quarantine. So when we was asked to quarantine, everything shut down. And it was kind of unfamiliar and uncomfortable with everybody. So and for me, it was causing me a lot of anxiety because I do not like staying in the house. I'm so used to being on the go, teaching here, teaching there, creating here, creating there. But I really had to sit still. Not only could work in my studio, but around that time, we know the weather was really starting to break. So I was like, I just can't do this. I need to be in the sun. So I had went out and I created a chalk drawing. I just wanted to try something fun, something new, really a way to kind of same mission, kind of release some stress, provide some therapy. And it blew up. It really went somewhere I wasn't expecting to. So I know it was something that our community needed. It was like on the front page of the paper. It was like all over the media. The governor, was very appreciative of it. So it was in commercials, like it was on national commercials that was showing overseas and different things like that. So it was something that obviously the people needed. Very, I guess you say essential. The nurses was very. Oh, I started going around to different hospitals and doing them. I started, the first one I did was in my studio, but then started going around to different Norton healthcare hospitals and just kind of honoring them and for the work that they was doing during the pandemic, while everybody else, was at home chilling, trying to stay healthy. So that's just more images of that. So now I talked about how it kind of just blew up. So I got like any artist knows how it's a super huge achievement, to really be asked to be a part of a museum. So I got an offer from KMAC Museum to create a chalk mural. And I was super excited about that, especially just with what was going on around the time, the pandemic, and then, the racial war has started, protesting has started here. So it was a lot of, different things going on. And I was asked to create a mural, really what I wanted to, but they just asked that it be a chalk mural. So I was super excited that I got to create my first museum piece. It was 12 feet high and 47 feet long. So it was super big and it was all chalk. The blackboard is it's chalkboard paint, so it is a chalkboard, and I just created this image, something positive, but something really representing. I'm big on representing culture and who I am as a Black woman. So I created these African American individuals, really trying to show them in a positive state. It's important to me to give good representation on who we are, and not, when things happen, mug shots and different things like that is often showed, about African American individuals. So I was super excited to have this opportunity. This is just more images, and that's me standing next to it, and I'm a tall girl, so it just kind of shows how big that this mural is. And it was beautiful. And they're not anybody specific, but I kind of did them, and I did it that way so people can really insert themselves into the mural. It could look like them, it could look like somebody and you can relate on that level. And this is just more images of it. So K-Mac and I actually partnered and we created mugs out of the mural that I made. And the mugs are still up for purchase. Part of the proceeds go to the Louisville Jail Fund project. Because I really want to support the protesters and people that was out, fighting for our justice and different things like that in the city. So if you do purchase it, we'll support, Black Lives Matters and getting people that may be arrested from protesting and different things like that. So I was super excited about that. They also talked about at the beginning of the presentation, my Breonna Taylor memorial. Well, I that's what I do. I paint victims of violence, and I usually paint portraits and I give them to their family. But Breonna Taylor was something that was so. She is somebody that's so important, not only to Louisville but all over this world. I don't know. I feel like I had to do something really special for her, something that was very impactful and really hadn't been done before. So I had created this portrait, and I was actually working on the mural at KMAC, but and I mentioned that it was protesting and different things going on. So it was like a very emotional time, a lot of tension everywhere I was. So I was like, I need to take a break a few days away from to really honor her the way that I wanted to. Her birthday was coming up, so I painted the portrait and I gave it to her family, of course. But I was able to project the painting on Metro Hall for the weekend for her birthday. And I thought that was God Rest America, and this one is really, I feel like, is one of the most powerful pieces that I've done, because they create, I mean, they say, such large statements, just to have this beautiful Black girl that was murdered by the police on Metro Hall, a place where we supposed to be serving each other justice, where she was not getting that, the city was not getting that. So I put her a place where she couldn't be ignored. And of course, that was a little pushback, but this is one of those projects, and it was one of those feelings that I had where I was not going to take no for an answer. Whoever said that I couldn't do this, or however it was going to go, I was still going to do it, because I felt like that it needed to be done, and I'm happy that I did it. Even with the small pushback that I had, because this is something I know this would be in history books. It was literally all over the world. Everything you can think of, Time Magazine, Good Morning America, like it was on CNN, so many, major platforms. People was using it on their shows, different things like that. And I know my job was done because people saw it, in other countries, all over the world. So I'm super proud of that. And I'm glad that I got to honor her in a way that hadn't been done. And it's just more from that night. And this is images from the night, of her birthday and protesters and different things. I thought this was a really cool photo. This was captured by Dustin. He's from Courier Journal. So I want to give him photo creds as well. This is the actual painting. We did a little photo shoot before we gave it to the family, and had to move forward presenting. So it was pretty big. So and then moving forward to my most recent piece that I done, and for those who are in Indiana a lot or go to the Floyd County Library, this is a mural that I started working on a few weeks back, and I was super excited to be asked to be a part of this project. Floyd County Library reached out to me, and this is during the all during the same time, and the race war was going on. It's still going on, but we've seen that a lot of different people and different organizations was putting out like written statements saying that they support Black Lives Matter, or they support, social justice and different things like that. And it's easy to put out an email or a paper, on your website saying those things. But Floyd County Library was like really wanted to, show action. And I appreciate that, and I'm happy that they chose me to really send a positive message and show what it is that they're doing in their building, but also in the community. So they asked me to paint a mural. A mural really talking about what they do in the library, who they serve, because it's really not an ordinary library. You don't just go in and read books and check them out. They do a lot of different things. And I spend a lot of time getting to know who I'm working with and what is it I'm working about. And they serve so many different people. And it's so many different programs, and it's so diverse, and that's something that we often don't see. And I can really speak for myself on that one. Especially in Southern Indiana, that's not a place where I'm going to go. It's not where I'm going to go hang out, and it's not a place where I feel welcome. So I was I was honored really to ask to break another barrier, to really try to bridge another gap. So what I did was create different images, of the different services that they provide, of course, art, science, technology, reading, but really the main things: love, equality, diversity, and really just creating a safe space. And once again, those positive images that I'm big on will representing, me and my people and our culture. Um, this is one of my favorite panels. This is a young lady. Her name is DJ Meow. She's a real DJ, and she's in the 6th grade. And I think it's just important for me. I've really been on this journey. I've honored a lot of victims of violence, but it's important for me now to honor people, that are working right now and give them the flowers while they deserve them and while they can smell them. So I've really been trying to include people that I know or the community may know, or some people that, that they don't know, and just kind of put out their story and what it is that they're doing, trying to contribute to this world. And for her to be so young and so Black and so beautiful, and so vibrant, I just thought it was super important to include her in this. And I think it's motivation for other children. A guy had came over, he was doing video for me, and he had asked about, he was like, is that DJ Meow? And I was like, yeah. He was like, his son had saw her DJing at an event, and he was like, he wants to DJ too, so he reached out to his mom, and he asked him, about how she got started and all the equipment that she had, and he was able to get all of those things for him for Christmas. But I just think it's important to really share those stories and those narratives about Black individuals, and that's not often told, so I really take the platforms and the canvases that I'm given to do that. And I'm happy that I'm able to, because it's appreciated, makes people happy, and it makes me happy on a different level. This was another one of my favorite panels. And this was one suggestion from the library. They wanted a father reading to a son, a scenario that's, another, it's not often told. You don't see posters, you don't see advertisements of fathers, being who they really are and who they are trying to be to their children, especially Black fathers, Black men, young Black men. It's hard. And we living in a world where we feel like the country is not for them. The United States is built for them to fail, and as a Black woman with the platform that I have, it's important for me to love on them and show them appreciation and how much we need them. And I incorporated that, and this is somebody young, this is somebody super important to me. This is my brother and his son. And so I included that, and I love it because I like culture in my pieces as well. You don't often see somebody with tattoos and different things like that on an advertisement, or which is not an advertisement, or a mural. So I all those small things are important to me, so I incorporate those. And this one, she's just so fun and cute. So this is one of my favorite ones as well. Just really showing that, positive image is something fun, something bright, something you really can't miss when you walking past. And I love this one because all the little girls think it's them. I had a family, I believe they was going to the church next door, and the little girl, she came over literally probably a few times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, checking on it, because she felt like the image was hers. So just, more positive representation, and kind of really shifting the work that I do, from death to the living, but still sharing, having the same message, the same, everything that I'm doing still kind of along the same lines, but just showing that I can do things differently. I don't have to stay in the same lane for what I'm doing. And this is just an image of the entire wall. It's a little different now because they've cleaned it up. They've cut some trees down, and there's another image that I haven't got to capture just yet, but I believe it was on the invitation that was sent out for the lunch and learn. So this is the wall. It's really big. This is also another one. This is my second largest piece that I've done. So I was super excited to have the opportunity, because I'm a self-taught artist, and I think it's important for me to share with people. I didn't go to art school. I didn't get any training when I was younger. My mom was super talented. I got everything I know from her, but everything else is just hard work and dedication. So, not only am I creating beautiful images, but I'm learning, I'm learning how to get better, as an artist and as a young woman and as a community leader, or, who people consider me to be, here in Louisville and other places. So it's just important for me to share that. And so this is just some more information. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. You can Google me, email and phone number here. Um, Website is still in the works. I have a lot of stuff. So, but that was just a small presentation of kind of some of the recent stuff that I was doing. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Or, nobody fell asleep on me. But if anybody has any questions or anything, you can feel free to ask. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Hi, Jaylin. Oh my gosh. Wow. My friend shared with me the opportunity to hear you speak, and I've been watching you work for years. I've been watching you grow. And to hear you speak is a big deal for me as an African American woman. I'm from Radcliffe, Kentucky. And what I've seen of the West End was always frightening. So when I came to live there and get to see your work, I always just admired what you've done because you're able to be yourself and embrace what's important. And that is for even myself is challenging. You know, what do you do when you have a situation like Breonna Taylor? What do you do when you're living around murder? You know, what do you do when it touches your family? You know, and I've asked myself that question before and I never had an answer, not like you have. So to hear you speak and to use the platforms you do by being yourself and bringing culture. I just kudos to you. Thank you so much. I think what you're doing is so important. And even more so, I was wondering, like, how do you go from all of this death, which is like, I see Jaylin Stewart, and she's like, look, this person died, this person died. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you wake up and smile in the morning, you know? So to watch you transition into life, that's a huge big deal too. So congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing. This has been an awesome opportunity and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. That's the photographer that I mentioned that's been with me since day one. Since my very first show today.
I'm in the area, so if you need some more photos, let me know. I got my mask, I got my camera.
So, but it means a lot to me saying that because it's tough, you know. And I always say that when I talk to people is it's really a challenge, and I think it's really makes me the artist that I am to try to work and fix the things that you living through every single day. It's hard, you know. And sometimes I feel like I have the answer, sometimes I don't. So, but you know, the main thing for me is just to keep pushing and keep creating, and listening to others. But right now, I'm at a point where listening to myself is really important, especially now that I'm 4 years into it. I've given so much of myself and my artistry to other people and other, you know, for other people to heal. It's been important to me to stay in tune with myself just so I can figure out how I'm going to keep serving people and you know, stay relatable, keep my ears open and my hands creating.
Jaylin, we have a couple of chat inquiries, one from Don Goebel and another from Elmer Lucille.
It says, wonderful. Have you been drawing people all your life? So I've been an artist since I was a kid. I didn't start painting and drawing portraits until I was in high school. I started really learning. I did have one art class in high school. It was just an elective. It was like once a week, 50 minutes. So I got a class on how to draw portraits, and I've always people love seeing themselves. I love seeing myself. So I wanted to, I wanted to learn how to draw people. So I did. I took that class, and I was pretty good, you know. It's a natural talent, really God-given talent. So I did very well, and I stopped a little bit. You know, I had some challenges, you know, later on in my high school life, but I picked it back up 2016, you know, and I'm still on the road. So, and then Miss Elmer, I thoroughly enjoy your presentation. You captured the moment. Thank you. You always supported me. I appreciate it. So if any more questions, you can just ask or put in the chat box or commentary, either one.
Jaylin, I have a quick question. I unmuted myself here. The American painter Gilbert Stewart, he did dozens and dozens of portraits of George Washington alone. How many Breonna Taylor portraits have you painted?
So far, I have only done 3 Breonna Taylor pieces. But I'm trying to do something larger with her. There's rumor about a basketball court that's going to be done for her. So I
Rumor.
may be involved in that. So, but I don't know.
Does it make you feel mixed feelings about that? I mean, obviously.
Absolutely, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. And I always talk of, people, Breonna Taylor could have easily been me, could have easily been you, just as a young Black woman coming from where I come from, living my life the way that I do, and to know that I'm not protected, the way that I could be. So it's emotional, but I just feel like, it's my duty as well, to honor her the way she deserves, and really to honor her, for Louisville, the city of Louisville, for people that aren't, on the front lines fighting, or that aren't creating images or statements and different things like that. So it's important for me, to keep going. It says, I work with children and wonder if you were encouraged to do art, and what you say to children about using art to process feelings. So I work with a lot of kids. Kids they're funny, and they can be difficult. The main thing that I keep in mind when I'm working with children is to let them be them. Let them express themselves the way that they know how to, because when you try to really stop them, you put limitations on who it is that they are, who it is that they can be. I think it's important to cultivate youth, into what it is that they want to do. So when I'm teaching art, I always tell them that there's no limitation, and there's so many different types of artists. There's not just a painter, there's not just a sculptor, there's some artists that don't even draw or touch a piece of paper, they may just do visuals. So just supporting them and allowing them to be themselves is important to me. But I'm not easy on my students. I'm not easy on them at all. Kids like to make a lot of excuses of why they can't do this. And, sometimes they get intimidated by their teacher. I've learned that about art. When you draw something, it's like, oh my God, how do you do that? I can't do that. But it's just about working with them. Patience is key too with kids. You have to be patient. You have to be a good listener, because as adults and as young adults, we feel like we know what's best for them, and sometimes what we know is not always best, and what their problems may not be big to us, but it's still big to them. So that's all I can say about that. They said, what is that KMAC Museum? At KMAC Museum was the chalk installation that I did. They just took it down. It was up for over about 3 months. So I was excited to be in the museum that long, but it's still on the website. You can see it on the website. You can still purchase the mugs. There's signed mugs and there's unsigned mugs. So all that's still available. And thank you, Marianne, for your comment. Thank you. Any more questions or anything?
I've seen you down at the annex and I've talked with you before.
Uh-huh. I'm glad you're here.
I am.
Do you feel differently about making art that is permanent versus temporary? That's a really good question. When I first started my art, I was one of those artists that couldn't let go of anything. Like, I would create pictures and didn't even want to sell them. And I still have some beautiful images that I have not just been able to let go. But I say the chalk drawings was that really helped me transition, especially we're in the middle of a pandemic. So the way the world shifted just really showed me that anything can change, like in the drop of a dime. And nothing is permanent. So creating those chalk drawings and seeing it being rained on and washed away, as artists, we know that can be devastating, especially when you put so much time into something. But it was actually very peaceful to watch me really to let something go that I put so much into. It just allowed me to see that I really don't have control over anything, of my life. And I believe in a higher power. So it just was it was kind of spiritual to me as well. So but yeah, I like the chalk drawings. And I think that's my favorite part of it, that it is temporary. It won't be there forever. And things we know that won't be there forever, we kind of we love on them more. We value them a little bit more, because we know they'll be gone eventually. So yeah. It says, your artwork is so beautiful and touches so many people. What's your favorite painting that you've done so far? Keep shining. That's a hard one. I don't know. I have a lot of favorites. Well, my installation, and that wasn't a painting, God Rest America was my favorite one. That just brought a lot of I think that was my favorite because, of course, a lot of work that I do brings emotion out of me, but that one just pushed me to a different level. Like, it challenged me. Sometimes as an artist, when you do something so many times, you master it, quote unquote. So it's not, it's not a real big challenge there. That's something that I had never done before, but I was so determined to do it and get it the way that I wanted to. So I think that's my favorite piece. The Kobe picture, the Nipsey Hussle picture, because those are people that I really admire. The Breonna Taylor, the projection and painting, of course. And that one, it kind of just shocked me, really. I don't know, it kind of, sometimes we create, I amazed myself with that one. I was just like, wow, I didn't know I was going to do that. So those would be my favorite that I can think of off the top of my head. So I think that was it in the chat.
Jaylin, it's elegant. When you're getting back to, not wanting to let things go in terms of artwork. I mean, if you hope to be successful as an artist, you have to do that. Absolutely. Stuff has to get away from you, right? And the further away, the better almost, if you have any kind of sense of that maybe what you're doing is important,
Absolutely. And Miss Sandra, she just asked me what other projects do I have in the works. So the next project I have coming up is I'm in a partnership with Norton's Healthcare. And it's so funny that we talk about temporary art. My temporary art has led me to some of the biggest opportunities that I have. So I think learning that creating something and letting go of it, I will have larger opportunities. I will have bigger platforms to share what it is, that I'm trying to tell people. And the chalk drawings that I did, in my studio, I took them to Norton's hospitals. K-Mac Museum saw that. I got that huge opportunity, which is, that's on my bucket list to get in the museum, no matter how big or small, for a young Black artist, especially a woman, that's huge. So it led to K-Mac, and then K-Mac, that mural, working large size, it led to Floyd County. Then Floyd County, which it's still all aligns, it led to this mural that I'm about to do for Norton's, and it's going to be in West Louisville. Which I'm super, super, super excited about because I'm from West Louisville. We don't have many murals that represent us the way that we should be represented. That's not cheesy and corny. I get the opportunity to create something that is us culture. So I'm super excited about that. It's kind of along healthcare lines, but it's still, something y'all can look forward to. So that'll be my next project. It'll be a big mural in West Louisville. Let me see. Carnegie is a history and culture organization. Do you talk about the project? Oh, okay. So on my birthday, on my 25th birthday, I went to Berea, Kentucky, and I was commissioned. I was asked to paint the first Black nurse, Mary Marriott, and she's from Kentucky. And she was the first Black nurse registered in Kentucky. And I was excited to be asked to do that because I was honoring a Black woman, and it wasn't in Louisville. And this is somebody that's made an impact all over the country, serving veterans and different things like that. And it's along healthcare, still along the same lines that I'm doing. That's still kind of around death. But so that was super important to do that. And then what advice would you give to young minorities who want to represent their community through artwork? My advice, some people don't like it, be yourself. There's no limitation on who you can be. I've learned that because I've dealt with trying to conform, like in certain spaces. They say white wall spaces for artists, in galleries. I felt like that I had to be a certain way to be an artist. And I really let go of that. Like I said, I had my first art exhibition in the basement at the California Community Center. So that's in my neighborhood. That's where I know, that's where I grew up. That's where we had fun. That's where we did dirt. But I wanted to do something different and try to change my life. So I started with what I knew and I started with who I am. And I mentioned that earlier, like it's just important for me to stay in tune with myself so I can serve other people. So that's my best advice for somebody who wants to represent, people, minorities, in their community. You got to know them too. You can't create nothing that's fake. Listening is a big part of being somebody that can represent people. Listening is a big part of being a leader. So it says, thank you so much for your presentation and the art and healing you bring to our community and world. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to create. So, yeah. All right. I think I answered the questions in the chat. Anybody have anything else?
Well, we appreciate the shout outs for the Carnegie Center. We definitely believe that we are one of those special places along with the Floyd
Absolutely.
County Library, and everything about what we do is about trying to engage the public in the most meaningful of ways. And it's really wonderful when we have such an artist in our community that has been doing projects with us like Jaylin, and we can share her with a wider world, and we're all for that. Absolutely. We just have a few minutes left. Does anybody have any last minute questions? Just for those folks who came in a little bit late, we are recording this and we'll make this available pretty soon on our YouTube thing. We have a few things to do technically to convert it and that kind of thing. But before I take off, I want to make sure that I thank our speaker, Jaylin, so much for her presentation and her wonderful artwork. I also give the audience a hand too. Thank you for going to the hoops of registering and then, staying with the technical stuff. But here we are, and we get this chance to talk with this marvelous artist. So I'm going to put myself on mute one more time. So if anybody out there has anything else you'd like to say before we sign off for the day, please go for it.
I just want to echo what others have said, but I will also add, working with Jaylin, you're absolutely a marvel to work with, an inspiration. And she didn't just work with us for about a month. She became a part of our staff and got to know our staff members, and was inspirational. She was very, you just were awesome. Came to a staff meeting and allowed hard cultural questions to be asked of you. And you were so honest and very direct, and just really helped us in kind of navigate and to continue to navigate some really difficult conversations. So it began with art, but it truly is your spirit and your willingness to share your heart that you have a special place with our library.
Well, thank you so much. I feel the same way about the Carnegie and Floyd County, just the whole branch in general. Because before I even did the mural, I was asked to come teach, a curriculum, a different school, it was an African-American curriculum, talking about African-American artists and, Black culture, in spaces that they're often not taught. So I was honored to be a part of that and to get to know the staff. It was super important to me. And I loved working with you all. You made me feel like I was one of you also. And I always tell, anytime I have those experiences, I share with other people and other organizations so they could try to do the same with other people and other artists, especially Black artists. I say that a lot because it's super important. And just hopefully to be that influence, and hopefully, places like Floyd County Library and the Carnegie Center and the KMAC Museum can influence other people to kind of step up and do things differently, listen to other people, and open the doors, give opportunities to those that usually don't have them. So thank you for having me again. And I'm always around if we need to do more work. Okay, we got one more in the chat, and I'm not going to hold y'all too long. It says, watching with my teenage artists, thank you for the amazing presentation. The way you honor the lives lost to tragedy and also showcase Black joy is so Any important. Thank you for sharing your gifts. Thank you. I hope I can inspire your teenager. I love working with children, teenagers. So if you ever need anything, you can contact me. I do a lot of different programs, so I'm always around.
We appreciate that, and we're going to hit you up, no doubt. Continued success to you, Jaylin, and thank you again for being on our program here. And any last second questions? Anything else? We can keep going for a few minutes. As I mentioned, we are recording this, so those who were late coming can also catch up with it a little bit later.
I have a comment. I'm on my husband's computer. That's why it says Eric. I'm not Eric. We live in California, and that's where I am right now. So I had a breakfast meeting, not a lunch meeting, because it's only 9:45, 9:50. Anyway, we go to the Carnegie Museum whenever we come to visit my in-laws who live in Louisville. And we always have a wonderful time. And I really enjoyed your presentation. And we love going there to the Carnegie. We go every time we come to visit. And it's just so touching what you do. I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can
Keep visiting us. We're free. Come and visit.
I know, I
We're
want a
clean and
t-shirt
we're
from you
safe
guys
and we're
once.
interesting. So, all right, we have 5 minutes. Jaylin, I'm going to let you be the one who ends this conversation today when you're ready. But
Okay.
Thanks again.
Let me try to wrap it up strong then. Well, thank you everybody that tuned in and joined. Gave me an hour of your day, of your lunch. I really appreciate that. Familiar faces and unfamiliar faces. Mixed crowd too. I see old and young, and that makes me feel really good. I like to try to reach everybody. And like I said, being a good leader is always being a good listener. So I'm always open to commentary, like, privately. I know a lot of people don't like to talk in open spaces around a lot of people. So you can always email me, text me, call me. And I'm going to put it in the chat box because I got a few people asking. And then I also can, it'll be recorded and it'll be on YouTube. So the presentation also has some of my contact information in there. Easiest way to get to me is email and phone. Instagram and Facebook Messenger is a little crazy. So those are the two direct ways to contact me. But thank you for listening to me and allowing me to share my story, especially today. It makes me feel wonderful. 4 years ago, I got started, and just to know I'm growing and I'm getting better and getting stronger as an artist and young woman. It just means a lot to me. So thank you for your time. And I'm always around creating. So just look forward to the Norton's project that'll be happening in the next few weeks. All righty. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. We'll catch you next month, and have a great one.
All right.
Bye-bye.